Guys, I'm here with Dave Teresi, Mr. Energy. All right, guys, I'm with Jason. Mickey Thompson Tires. All right, guys, I'm here with Justin, Summit Racing.
I do.
Man, it's exciting. Dude, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm excited to be back. I want to welcome everybody that's out there to Drag and Drive show presented by our friends at Summit Racing. Can't thank them enough for coming on board to do this and the news, the Drag and Drive news on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I promise I'm getting to podcast, guys. We are, Eric and I were talking about that behind the screen there. Podcasts are coming. I've done more than 150 podcasts. I have not been cutting this content down for podcast formats, and we're going to start doing that. So welcome to the Drag and Drive show, April 5th, 2023. My name is Michael Narks. I run dragonDrive.com and the Drag and Drive Addiction brand and Facebook group, I guess. We have social media everywhere under drag-n-drive. Eric White is my co-host. Eric, tell them about yourself, sir.
I am Eric White. I run 815 LSX Swaps and Motorsports Paparazzi. And as this comment shows here, I make some pretty sweet Photoshop pictures of you, sir.
That is exactly right, dude. We have had a ton of fun. The Parts Online Network team grabbed a great shot. Bill Elkins grabbed a great shot of me making one of my animated faces. And of course, that has gone, I don't know, I hate to say viral within the Drag and Drive community, but it has spawned a ton of memes. And I think Eric is our meme king for it. Right now, there's one that I posted the other day, or that Eric posted the other day, that is me as The Rock. So we're going to have some fun with this. Again, that leads into the world champion, the Drag and Drive world champion presented by Drag and Drive Addiction and Summit Racing that is going to be awarded at PRI 2023. We're very, very close. We have Summit is getting the email tomorrow to sign off on the rules and the points packages. We've gone over that a couple different times. We probably won't go over that today. I hope to be able to really Saturday morning do the entire show is going to be about the Drag and Drive World Champion. This is a huge boost for the community, but also for the racer that is going to win this. It's going to be a great package. And all the additional stuff that we're going to do surrounding the PRI Drag and Drive Awards, again, presented by Summit Racing. They are stepping in. They're jumping in. They're not stepping in. They're jumping in 2 feet, knee deep in Drag and Drive community. I think they're at almost every Drag and Drive event. I know every national event and all that. I see our friend Rick Dodge in here. He is the man. I've been bouncing ideas off of him all week. I want to start the show off by saying congratulations to our friends at Sweet Patina, race car friends over there. Guys, you can now buy their products at summitracing.com. It's so exciting that they have worked so very, very hard over many years to get that product built to where now you have the world's largest automotive parts retailer selling their products within the community and in the stores and online. It's really awesome. So congratulations to Blake and all those guys over there. I was actually talking to him the other day. We have something special that we're doing for the circuit racers that are also with Sweet Patina. So it's pretty exciting. I want to thank him for coming on board. Obviously, he sponsors the Built for Drag and Drive segment. We'll do their ad read here in just a few minutes. Dude, let's jump in. We'll do event countdown and news to kind of kick the show off, give some people some time to jump in here. We do have some guests on tonight. We'll talk about them first. We have Jared Holt on with King of the Open Road Drag and Drive events. And then hopefully we have Javier with That Racing channel on because they are the presenting sponsor of King of the Open Road. I think that would be really cool. What are we talking about here? When is the short sleeves getting worn so we can see those pipes? Buddy, it's coming. I really could have probably done it tonight. It's about 65 in the shop right now, so I could have done it tonight. Maybe I'll do some curls. I'll do some Rich Guido curls right before we come in here.
These
So
all these comments about these posts really make me happy. It makes all those editing hours putting those together, it
yeah,
makes it worth it. So keep them
well,
coming. And if you've got ideas on other people that I should do, I've got an
yes.
ongoing list and they're coming. So
Yes, yeah, we're gonna have a ton of fun with it, and guys, I want you to know from the deepest part of my heart, the world champion racer is, while it is fun, it is also huge for the sport. I mean, this is truly going to put a bigger spotlight on the drag and drive community. We know we've seen huge growth in the last 18 months. It'll only get more and more as we increase these kind of eyeballs on everyone. There are a lot of people in the, magazine community, in the online community, that are now talking about drag and drive and doing drag and drive. Speed Tube TV is now bringing their own car on Drag Week, which I think will help a ton. And we have worked out some rev share programs with them, so you'll actually be able to watch some of the drag and drive addiction content over there. That'll be special. So that is coming up as soon as I can finish some of the video edits, which I hope to be able to do that now that I guess I'll probably give an update. My mother-in-law was the reason I was not on last week. I want to say thank you for everybody that has reached out and given some condolences and stuff. She did pass away on Sunday morning about 2:30, or I guess it was Monday morning about 2:30 a.m. From her fight with lung cancer. And it's been pretty eye-opening, the amount of support that we've had. We really appreciate everybody reaching out and things like that. We're working on services and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty sudden. We found out about 2 months ago that she was sick. She had a stroke. Then we found out she had lung cancer, and from there it just progressed, and heart attack and things like that. It's not a good thing. So I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but if you don't know already, smoking's bad. Okay. All right, let's talk about event news now. Drag and Drive event news, guys. Southeast Street-N-Yeet is happening right now. It is like literally going on right now. There are people still at the track. When I talked to Jesse Fox a little bit ago, who is going to be on a little bit later, he's actually en route to the first route stop of the day because they spent so much time at the track tonight, or I guess this afternoon. So he's headed to the route stop one now, and he will be on later to kind of tell us some stories about the event. Again, there have been some serious passes laid down. Devin Vanderhoof has laid down some 440s in the white Mustang that he brought on Sick Week, that he is prepping for Midwest Drags and Hot Rod Drag Week. So that car's pretty intense. He'll change up a few things to go quarter mile racing at Midwest Drags and Hot Rod Drag Week. So that's exciting. That event's going on right now. The circuit, our own event, is in 9 days. Beginning to get very anxious. Eric's coming down. It'll be fun hanging out with him for a few days. Gonna put him on the camera, and our goal is for him to, because we're not doing a live stream with the event, so our goal is to be able to grab hopefully 2 or 3 videos a day, just some simple stuff. And then once we get done with the event, I'll edit down some big, long, really what you want to watch type videos. Cruise and Lose in Lincoln, Nebraska is 16 days from now. Carolina Drag Cruise is in 35 days. I know we haven't really talked about Carolina Drag Cruise very much, and I apologize to that team over there. I know Michael Lone and that team are really working hard to get that going. 35 days. There are still a few spots available for it. May 10th is when it starts at Greer Dragway. I think that's in South Carolina. I didn't look. I apologize.
May 18th, it says here.
Oh, I thought it was May 10th through 18th.
I might have an old picture, so
Hey, that's
that
all
could
right.
be my bad.
Yeah, go to carolinadragcruise.com for more info on that one, or you can find them on Facebook as well. And then King of the Open Road, again, the event that Jared Holt and Javier
Uh-oh.
put on. Whoop.
I'm
Did I
out of
skip it?
order. You're good.
Oh, you have Six Summer next?
Yep.
Okay, 6 summers in 61 days starts right up by Eric. He will actually be there for the Drag and Drive Addiction content creator. We certainly appreciate him going out of his way to spend some time at those tracks and gather content for us. Now, my plan during that, because I will be at Summit Racing Autocross Week, the same week, we're going to do a live stream, hopefully every morning or evening, maybe every evening, depending on what the schedule looks like best for Eric and I to be able to sit still for about 30 minutes and can update. He can tell us what happened during the day and things like that. So That'll be a little different. We'll do a long format Wednesday night episode, but then every day will be your daily dose of drag and drive sometime during the day. We don't know. We're going to have to kind of play that out and play it by ear. King of the Open Road, 52 days, May 27th and 28th, in Oklahoma City. Talked about that. They actually have some open spots right now. I think they were a little over 100, and we'll ask Jared a little bit later how many spots they have available left. But I know they sold 100 on the first day, and there's only a 200 opening window there. Summit Racing Midwest Drags, which again I'm pit announcing at, that is in 96 days starting July 10th, and it's at Virginia Motorsports Park. You can find all of these events on the dragonddrive.com page. Go to the news tab, and then you can flip through, and it's one of the first 2 or 3 articles as events come up and updates happen and things like that. People add websites to their stuff. I go in and I update that and then make it a new article. So we're working on, is it worthwhile to have a dedicated page for the lists, or is it fine with articles? At this point, it has been fine with an article or blog style setup. I see Dirty Panda in here saying hashtag race car friends. Yes, that is something that we are working on as well. We've been talking about sponsors as our race car friends. I've hinted about Patreon in the past. I think we may be moving forward with something like that as well, just because we want to take this to the next level and being able to hire folks like Eric to attend events, and other photographers attend other events that maybe I'm not able to be at. We'll need some support from the community. So obviously we're doing what we can, guys. It's been pretty overwhelming, the amount of support we've had. So let's talk about, Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0 is June 17th, if I'm remembering correctly. Sorry, I'll get that on next week. So that would make it 103 days, 104 days, something like that. Yeah, 96 days. Don't remind me, for Midwest Drags. Yeah, Brandon's building a super cool square body 4-wheel drive truck. Carolina Drag Cruise has open spots, and Summit Racing Midwest Drags has open spots. You can find those. You can find information and registration links and all that kind of stuff at midwestdrags.com or carolinadragcruise.com. I will say, being part of the team on the production team anyway for Midwest Drags has been really eye-opening, the amount of work that goes into these events. So it's really cool, and to see kind of the backstory of that. I do want to give a few updates. I see Jared jumped in here in the back. The circuit, we have, obviously, there's been a few racers that have fallen out. I'm going through the wait list as we speak. After this event, after this live stream, I'll be emailing more waitlisters. So if you are a waitlister, please get ready. You're going to be getting an email very soon. And then I met with the cruise night location today, actually, and we have reserved 400 parking spots for the cruise night. So there are a ton of local people that are coming to that. I'm really excited to see how Northwest Arkansas and Northeast Oklahoma, Southwest Missouri shows out at the event. It's going to be really fun to have a drag and drive that is not racing every day. So this will be the last year we set up with this format, which is drag race on Friday, cruise night on Saturday, drag race on Sunday. 2024, we will be drag race, all of it, all over. So one of the route stops I am very excited about, I'm taking ice cream out to the Northwest Arkansas Children's Shelter tomorrow, or this weekend, sorry. I'm pumped because everybody's going to get ice cream. Everybody's going to have fun. We're all going to talk to volunteers from the shelter. And then, the kids are going to be pressed against the glass when you start talking about having 100 cars come through that facility, 125 cars come through that facility in an afternoon. Those kids are going to be absolutely blown away by what we're going to do. And we encourage our racers and co-pilots, just hang out for a few minutes. There's not a lot of opportunity. I don't know if those kids will actually come out and take a look at the cars, but if they do, we would obviously love for them to be able to look at and talk to you and all that kind of stuff. Again, that is Joplin, Missouri, Smokin' Mocan Dragway. April 14th, we're racing. April 15th, we are at Pinnacle Hills Promenade in Rogers, Arkansas for the cruise night from 4 to 8 p.m. And then Sunday, we are back at Mocan. You can find more at thecircuitdnd.com. Dude, let's bring Jared on here.
Yep.
Do you want to bring him on? I'll get the banner stuff done.
Yep.
Perfect. Jared,
Hey,
what's up,
going?
dude?
What's up, guys? Sorry, right here, Little League with my kids, so I'm kind of
yeah.
remotely.
Well, we won't take up a ton of your time. We really appreciate you coming on, dude. Uh, you're supposed to be on last week, and I apologize for not being here. We all know what happened there, but we're glad to have you tonight. It's exciting.
I
So,
appreciate you guys, and I tried to call Javier, but I believe he is filming in South Florida right now, so he's not going
yeah.
to be able to. So.
Hey, that's what happens when you have a wildly successful YouTube channel.
Yeah, he is. He is a busy, busy man. That is for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. But you're a busy guy too, man. I follow a ton of your stuff. You were at Texas 2K. You were getting ready for the largest year you've ever had with King of the Open Road. It's gonna be pretty wild.
It's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, Texas 2K didn't go as we had wanted, but the weather had a large part in that. It rained Wednesday,
Yep.
Thursday, Friday, and then it sleeted Saturday, so we didn't get a lot of
Mm.
passes. But that what can you do? You can't do anything about weather.
Yep.
But yeah, we are gearing up to have an absolute, just crazy, crazy big King of the Open Road in May.
Yep.
I mean, when we announced opening, I believe it was April 1st at 8 a.m. We sold
Yep.
35 more spots than we did the year before, and what
Yes.
3 days in now, we are sending at about 170 racer spots out of the 250 we're going to take. So,
Dude, that's awesome.
yeah, we changed some things this year, and that was one of the big deals with me bringing TRC and Javier on board was I needed that extra push because
Yep.
they are so big and their marketing and their reach is just so much larger than mine. And truth be told, Javier is really good at doing a lot of things that I'm not. I'm more of a racer, and I just want to get out there, do the cruise, and he's much better at the behind the scenes stuff, the website and the folk page. And he built us a new website, kingoftheopenroad.com, and he set up all the folk information, and he's just a big asset to us as
Yep.
a for that King of the Open Road deal.
Well, and the videos he puts out are amazing. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you can find that racing channel and go in there and watch the video from last year's event. I mean, dude, it was great. And it really shows the heart and soul of that event, which is always cool. I intend to attend this year again.
Right.
So I was at both of them last year, but I only came for the racing on the fall one.
And it was cold. My goodness.
Dude. Hey, it made for a great day of racing, though. You know what I mean? Lot of fast stuff.
Oh my God, it was brutal. But yeah, I mean, Tina Pierce went 7.2 at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Set open road record there. I think she's gonna have some competition this time. I've been obviously my background's with like World Cup finals and TX2K, so we're really trying to tap into those kind of racers to do the drag and drive. Like
Yep.
the Moto and the T1 race development and the Cicero performance and some of those bigger shops that can offer to their client something those guys have never been involved with. They're typically, they have their cars prepped by these shops. They have it brought to the track. The owners will fly in and race them, and then the owners will fly home, and the guys will take the car back to the shop for the next round of upgrades. Well, those guys are looking for the next thing. They're looking for a way they can go out and drive their cars and enjoy it. And what better way than do drag and drives? So we're really working towards that. And a little birdie told me that Nth Moto may be bringing the Kratos Viper, which is the Gen 5 Viper that goes 680s at 220 miles an hour. So if he brings
it on
the open road, it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, and that's exciting because I think the level of people and your reach gets to is that next level of racer that we're looking for in these kind of events. Like that's what it's going to take to get more 6-second cars out there and a wider range other than just necessarily maybe not all the twin turbo big block stuff. We're going to see like
LSs. My wheelhouse where I started it all was I was a roll racer. I mean, I had a twin turbo Viper that made 1500 wheel, and I do the Texas Invitational and the TX2K, and then obviously street stuff. And those guys have progressed in the roll racing. Like T1 had a GTR that just went 237 miles an hour in the roll race, and the roll race was only like 1,100 feet. I mean,
wow.
It's bananas how fast those roll race cars are getting. And I progressed into drag racing, and I still like to have fun, but those guys are getting to where they can drag race roll race cars now. A lot of R8s and Huracans and all those guys can literally drive to the grocery store like a stock car, run 750 at 195, and put pump gas in it and drive it around. And
that's exactly right.
If we can get a lot of those guys to indulge into the drag and drive culture and the lifestyle, because I think they're going to really be blown away by how much fun it is. because at the end of the day, man, when you go to these events and you made, I don't know, let's say you get to drive your car 60 seconds for the whole week. I mean, you're only making 7-second passes. It's real expensive and it kind of gets old. So, I think these guys can go out and cruise a couple hundred miles in one day, or maybe do a sick week or a Rocky Mountain race week or a drag week, and get to do that for a week long. Like, how cool would that be? Those guys built cars for that. Like, it doesn't get more than that. So we're really trying to get a lot of those guys to come out and do KOTOR. We're doing it in Oklahoma in May. We've got Tucson, Arizona in September, and then we've got Texas Motorplex at Ennis in November, and we've already got some other tracks locked in for 24. So we're really working hard right now to expand the King of the Open Road brand, and we're just changing things up. And I'm not going to ruin it, but the prizes and some of the gifts that for the winners this year are going to be really neat. And I won't spoil it, but it's been really awesome. I want to say it, but I wouldn't. But we're going to have some really awesome prizes as well as payouts. So we're really just trying to take the level of the event to the next level. It started off as a super grassroots, super simple deal through Cruising Oklahoma. We did a one-day cruise, cruised out to Hinton, raced on the streets, and everybody's like, this is a lot of fun. And then obviously, we did another one and then another one. And now this one in May will be our first partnership with TRC. And we hope it can be, twice as large as it was in November, because truth be told, with the weather as bad as it was in November, we still had a really damn good turnout.
And it is awesome. It was great.
Super happy. We had from side by sides and old tea buckets. And then, like I saw Richard comment earlier, him and some of his buddies drove all the way from Canada to come down and race. I think he brought that damn snow with him, though.
He brought the weather with him for sure. And then, Rich changes the trans and the diff in the parking lot to drive back home. And here's what's crazy. He had the trailer available. He could have just jumped into
I don't think that's vocabulary, though.
No, he doesn't understand that stuff. He doesn't know. And if you have that car and you can drive it and you enjoy driving it, it's comfortable, why not? Why wouldn't you do
that? Yeah, and then he no tires on it, mud flaps, and drove the bitch back to Canada.
That's right. Well, let's talk about your car stuff, because you have a very wide collection of cars. You have a lot of really neat stuff. What would you say is your top 2 or 3 cars that get the most of your time?
Man, that's a hard one. Right now we're working hard on the green Yoda Supra to hopefully have the opportunity to get back on Street Outlaws, because the stuff that just filmed for the 405 show, I was elected a captain. I got to take a group of my friends and imports that I met through Drag and Drive, through King of the Open Road, through World Cup Finals in Texas 2K, and we went on the show, and we did pretty well. One of my teammates did it all in a Honda Civic. And what's really cool about that is now Aaron has signed up to come race at King of the Open Road. So he's going to come out and cruise the street car. He built another car that's pretty much a Twinkie to the Civic, but it's in a Prelude chassis, no cage, good like full street car deal. And he's going to come out, and that car should, realistically go high 7s, low 8s, at a 2.2 or 2.4 liter little force. And, to look at, Murder Nova and Daddy Dave and all those guys, like, they were blown away to see that Honda go as fast as it did, because Chuck's an old school Honda guy. But for us to go on there with some imports and make ripples in the water, it was pretty cool. And so, that's one car that, takes up a ton of my time. And then we're building another white Supra that is going to be our KOTOR car. I've already ordered the vanity plate for it says KOTOR. And, I've some of the partnerships that I have with the green car, Brian Crowder and Manley and, Precision Turbo and ETS and Nitrous Express, ATF transmission, the same pedigree of parts that we took and we know work on the green car, we're moving into the white car. It's just not going to have a cage. It's not going to have a dry sump or a billet block, but it should still make 12 to 1300 wheel horsepower and probably still run bottom 8s at 175 miles an hour with overdrive. So that car, I should literally be able to drive all over the country and make a ton of power and do it, kind of in style. And then I actually just picked up my 02 ACR twin turbo Viper. It'd been at a shop for a long time. Not really going to get into that. That was an ugly deal. Finally went and picked it up. Henson Racing Engines, who also competed in KOTOR last year and sponsored, they have the motor. And it's going to be like a 550-inch deal, twin next-gen Precisions, Motec, Gen 5 ACR trainee. That car was the first Viper back in like 2004 to ever go 8s. And it was the first Viper to go 200 in the mile. The original owner of it had pretty deep pockets, and He built that car and did some really wild things with it. And then a local buddy of mine named Andy Nelson bought it, and then I got it from him. So it's kind of cool. That car has had a pedigree of racing its entire life. Like the guy
Yeah.
bought it shop called ART in Austin, Texas, literally like at 80 miles. At 80 miles, it became a race car. And
Wow.
I've got Trans Ams and RX-7s and 3000 GTs and Stealths, and we're building a twin turbo Coyote Ford Lightning right now, and an old Bandit Trans Am with aluminum 5.3 turbo. Yeah, I mean, I definitely got some irons in the fire, and that's one thing I'll always say. I'm passionate about all cars, not just imports.
Yep.
I like imports. It's where I started at, but man, I like all cars.
Yeah. And I think that's one of my favorite things about you and the KOTOR event is because really you're centrally located. You had Rob Courtney come all the way from Pennsylvania in the all-wheel drive Civic
Yep.
at the May event last year. I mean, like that event really brings out a ton of different kinds of cars and people. And I think, I preach it all the time, but the regional events, these weekender type events are what is going to bring people into the community. And you take somebody that has, a big turbo Viper, they may not think it can handle the week if they go to drag week or something.
Right.
Or Midwest drags, and then they come out here and they do KOTOR or the circuit or something. They're like, oh, well, that wasn't too bad. The car handled it just fine. I'm going to go try one of the big ones.
Exactly. And they get that bug in their bit, right? Like,
yeah.
I'll never give up Texas 2K. I'll never get up World Cup finals. Those are the two Super Bowls of street car events for me. But you throw all the other events that are out there in the country, I would rather do drag and drives 9 out of 10 times. Like about driving my car, man. I like to get my buddy in the passenger seat, maybe my kiddo here in the near future, or my wife, and hit the open road. And you just never know the curveball of a drag and drive is going to throw you. Last time you guys had me on, I mean, the first time I did a drag and drive was Rocky Mountain Race Week. We took two well-prepped Supras, Gio's 6-second Supra, my 7-second Supra, and we hit the open road. And through day 3, I was tied with Doug Cook in that 750 class, and I had him by a few hundredths, and we ended up cracking the block. And before that, I hit a family of armadillo or raccoons. And before that, I hit armadillo. Like, it was just MacGyvering fixes on the side of the road. And, that might not be for a lot of the guys, like I was mentioning earlier, like maybe some of the higher end cars. Those guys probably aren't going to be working on their cars on the side of the road. But the deal is, like, drag and drive people in general, we're a different breed. We don't mind working on our cars on the side of the road. To me, it's what makes the experience the experience. If it goes like it should and you drive to every track and you get sleep every night and everything goes as planned, I wouldn't know what to do. Like, like that doesn't happen in this industry. So,
I've always said, like, and Eric and I've talked about it too a bunch, if you have a late model car and it has air conditioning, you should not be able to turn your air conditioning on, and you have to roll the windows down. You know what I mean? Something that let's not make it as easy for those guys as it needs to be sometimes.
The AC compressor off, and then they have to run
it. yeah, all that kind of stuff. Well, we definitely want to talk about some of the KOTOR stuff, and how did you get KOTOR started? You talked about a little bit of it there in the beginning with cruising Oklahoma, but like, I guess really my question is what made you go to that next step? What made you step out of Oklahoma City and do Tucson and the Texas Motorplex?
Well, that was, me and Javier, the TRC connection for me goes back to, like, oh my goodness, 2011, 12, maybe, like right when him and Keith started TRC. They reached out to me at TX2K. And back then there was a guy named Mullet who was kind of like the big dick guy. He had like Turbo 4 GTs and Lambos, and he had this private meet, and I got them in like under my wing, right? And so since that point, like, me and Javier have always been cool. A lot of you guys may see that I do content for them. I'll host a lot of the Street Outlaw videos with Murder Nova or Chuck or Ryan or whoever we're doing these videos with. So in my brain, I'm like, I can fill a race in Oklahoma. I can probably do it in Texas and Kansas, but I don't have a following like I do in Oklahoma and Arkansas or in, Arizona or wherever it may be. And TRC, their fan base is huge. Their videos viral as hell, and they're all around the world. So I talked to Javier. I was like, look, I don't want to work in a car dealership my whole life. I am as passionate about race cars as anybody I know. And I want to bring this to more people. I want to bring parts of the country that don't have a drag and drive. I want to bring this stuff to them and experience or expose this kind of racing to other people, because Javier and TRC had never been to a drag and drive until November. He's like, dude, this is the most fun I've ever had in a car. Why aren't we doing more of these? I was like, let's do it. That was kind of, I wouldn't call him a test, but like he came out, seen what it was about. And then from that point forward, we're like, we're doing this. If we don't do it when we turn 50, we're just going to talk about it. Man, that was a missed opportunity. So we're both, in a financial position in life where we can throw some money at this deal. And so we kind of put our heads together, threw some money at it. And man, I really think people are going to like the new format that we're going to do with the prizes and some of the gifts that we're going to give. And, thing that I do that I honestly don't know if a lot of the other Dragon Drives do, but in these grab bags, I give out a ton of stuff. Deetsworks gave me $15,000 of gift cards to give out this year. So we're going to just randomly put those in the bags because truth be told, like the guy who wins a class probably doesn't need a $300 gift card to help him get a set of injectors. But the guy that's like sixth place in the 13.0 index class, that $300 to him is going to go a hell of a long ways. So if
and hey, that $300 may put that guy into the 12s at the next event.
Correct. Yep. And that's one thing I always try to remember, like everybody starts somewhere. I was a guy with a 14-second 3000 GT at one point, like we all start somewhere. Like some of these guys, I feel like they get in the sixes or however fast they are, and they kind of forget where they came from. They don't forget what it's like to try to maybe pick up a 10th of a second when you're running an index class, or what, a tune and a set of injectors would do for you at some point in your racing career. And so like we did that so more people can get a prize, like Kicker gives us Bullfrog, these badass Bluetooth speakers and, amplifiers. And this year, like Loves, they're kicking in fuel cards. Like there's going to be close to $5,000 in those giveaway bags to those.
How cool.
And it's not just going to be it could be the people that pay to come cruise with us, not even the racers, and another thing we implemented last year was the token. I wanted another way to make it different. A lot of events do pictures or whatever it may be, but we are like, let's do a token. That token will be a memorable keepsake that they'll keep forever. And it's their ticket to race. And if they make the drive, we have a checkpoint set up in town. We scratch their name off the list. That's their token. Don't lose that bastard because that's your ticket to race. A guy did that last year. And, of course, like I helped him figure it out. But yeah, if you're racing KOTOR and you lose that ticket, that is literally your tech card. But, we just try to implement new things. And, I'm a history buff. So I implement a ton of history in the cruises. We had our checkpoint that last year was at the Chickasaw National Cultural Center and Tishomingo, which was actually the old capital for the Chickasaw Nation. And this year, I won't really give it away, but we're going a completely opposite way of the state with, I guess I'll say this. The checkpoint is a pre-1900s bank that is literally stuck in time. Like Bonnie and Clyde kind of bank where they got robbed. There's still bars on the windows. And so this town is opening up this bank for us, and they're allowing us to put and I mean, it's a time capsule. This thing hasn't been open since like the 40s. So like, it's just crazy that we're going to be able to go into this old bank and just see the history, just the raw Oklahoma history around it. And where we're going, like Geronimo, the chief Geronimo is buried close to this. And there's just so much cool history. And to me, doing the Dragon Drives, that's what it's about, is learning new things about the region that you're driving in. When we go out to Arizona, Tombstone, Arizona is only an hour from Tucson. Like you better damn well know that if you're going to go to the Tucson event, we're going to Tombstone. Because like being from Oklahoma, I've never been to Tombstone. So I'm just like chomping at the bits to go out there and see what Tombstone, Arizona is about. All the, the OK Corral, the Doc Holliday stuff, like, the Wyatt Earp, like that town has a ton of history. And I'm just a history freak. So I try to implement a lot of that into the King of the Open Road with the token and a lot of those things just to separate it from all the other Dragon Drives, not that there's anything wrong with the other Dragon Drives. I'm just trying to put my own spin on it.
Yeah. It's been awesome.
Yep. And that's awesome, Scotty. I keep one of those tokens on my NAT stand as well. I hope to see you in May, brother.
So I know your kids are there. We'll end this quick, but I think you have 3 KOTOR events this year.
Yes.
How many do you?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, how many events do you think you can handle in a year?
We're gonna try to get to. Javier may disagree, but I want 10 events next year.
Wow.
I want to do 8 to 10 events in 24. He's been working hard behind the scenes with some of his track connections. And there's another guy that, has helped him along the way that I've never met personally, but his name is Chris Harris. Chris Harris is got a long history down in Florida. He was a general manager, I believe, at PBR That's drag strip that got shut down in South Florida, and he does like the national roll racing stuff. He does a lot of bike promotional. The dude knows how to run a racetrack, from prepping to the timing system to just everything about it. So Javier's bringing Chris on board as well to help everything run smooth, because one thing that can give an event a black eye really quick is if you have one issue, whether it's the gate or a timing system or whatever. And, you get, like last time, for instance, in November, we had 17 states and 2 countries come to KOTOR, which blew my mind. But if those guys don't have a good time or something happens that's out of my control, that I don't know how to fix a timing system. I'm not a track prep guy, but Chris is. Chris can do all those things, even though we're renting these tracks and they have the facility and the personnel to do it. Having someone like Chris with 20 years of experience of running drag tracks is so beneficial. So, with him being on board with Javier and I, that's why I'm ambitious enough to think 8 to 10 events next year is doable. We definitely want to do Texas. We may do 2 in Texas, for sure. Oklahoma. We want to do one possibly down in like the Georgia, Alabama, Florida area. We're going to do Arizona. I want to do a Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington one. And I think like an Iowa, Indiana, or Michigan one needs to happen, as well as Pennsylvania. So like I've got a lot of notes in my house, and I've got, a bulletin board, and I've got these goals. And that's one thing I've always done in my life is I've set goals. And so far in my life, I've always obtained them. So like I'm a very goal oriented person. So I've got these goals set. I know Javier does, and we're really trying to make the King of the Open Road a nationwide brand, kind of like my buddies Chase and Justin did with Streetcar Takeover. I knew those guys before Streetcar Takeover, and, they went to Texas 2K and kind of got bit by that, style of event for a bug. And, they ran with it. And now look where Streetcar Takeover is. It's the premier, weekend drag racing event in the country.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to make, King of the Open Road. We're not trying to be a sick week. We're not trying to be a Rocky Mountain Race Week or drag week. We want, like you said, to do a regional event that's a 3-day that gets people hooked on this style of racing. So then they can go try their hands at a sick week, race week, drag week, whatever they may be. And, every year we just try to grow this King of the Open Road deal. Do I think, more than 10? I don't know. That's pretty ambitious. 1 a month would be pretty rough. But I think it's very doable. And, man, I'm going to do what I can and use my resources to make sure more people can enjoy this style of racing.
Yeah, we appreciate that for sure. It would be crazy to think that there's going to be 30-something events next year. Bring it on. We thought we'd have had 27 this year. Who knows?
Yeah, the explosion of the drag and drive culture is just crazy. 2019 is when I did Rocky Mountain Race Week. There wasn't that, then you start doing this drag and drive addiction thing, and it's grown so much for you. And you're such an advocate, and you push for this style of racing, which is awesome. Thank you for that. Without people like you, promoters like me and other guys, you help us so much because you introduce so many more people, and you give us a spot that we can go and express our views on our events, and the fans can listen to them and then hopefully get pumped up for our events. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, dude. Heck yeah, man. All the time. Well, if you have just another minute, we'd love to run through. I know everybody's that has seen your stuff in the past. We want to know about the Street Outlaw thing. I mean, I think that's probably a good question, isn't it, Eric?
Right. Yeah.
How was that experience? What are some things you took away from it that'll make it better on the next one?
So it was, for those that don't really know me, I've been around that stuff since before the TV show. I'm not a guy that was chasing clout or chasing the fame of the show. I had a genuine interest in doing that. I was a lot younger, 2008 or 9. I didn't have a fast car, but Chief and Sean and Dave and all those guys, they allowed me to run security for them. And, we talked about this on the show, but it didn't make TV, which is fine. But, I paid my dues per se. I earned my stripes with those guys, keeping them in handcuffs, 10, 20 times a year. So, I got to know those guys, kind of earned their respect. And of course, they all kind of razzed me for having a 3000 GT, not really their cup of tea. And, I always was interested in trying to do it. And then, 2011 rolled around, TV show happens. And at the beginning of it, Chief told me, look, we need, new blood, new cars, whatever. Go build your Supra and I'll give you a shot at the list. I was like, okay,
Nice.
cool. Well, obviously I didn't have, the income I do now or the relationships I do now. So it took me about 2 years to build the car to run sevens. It still took a ton of money. It literally took every cent I had to get that car to that level. Well, by the time that happened, it was 2014 or 15, the cars went from running 480 to 520 on the street to 14s, the show had exploded, and everybody's running 481Xs. I mean, things got out of control. So I had built this car, and Chief told me, he's like, "Hey, you can have a shot at the list. We'll do a round robin." But man, I didn't want to go on TV and make a fool of myself. And so like I knew like I had nothing for those guys. My car went at the time 480s on a track, but doing that on a small tire on the street, I mean, that's a whole nother ball game. So I just stayed in my lane. We took the car, we raced World Cup, and we got faster. Then 2019, I won Outlaw Armageddon in the car. A 91 car domestic field, the biggest no prep in the world. And we took a little 180 cubic inch import and we won it. And that was a pretty big deal. And we realized that obviously a track doing no prep is different than the street, but we were going high fours, low fives on a no prep surface in a 6-cylinder. So I was like, man, it'd be really cool if we got a shot to do Street Outlaws again, but it was just unrelatable to me. Some guys can maybe relate to that, but 4,000 horsepower pro mods in the street, I ain't got nothing for that. I can't relate to that. And so it kind of, to me, the show had evolved obviously like they wanted to be faster, but it got to the point where the average Joe Blow public, in my opinion, wasn't watching it as much. The ratings had dropped, and it just kind of got stagnant. It was the same 10 guys racing the same races. So, the thing happened with Chief. He got whatever happened. I'm not going to touch base on that. So he's off the show. Well, Sean Murder Nova became the guy. And so January of last year, Sean and I are pretty tight. He called me. He's like, look, I'm the race master now. We're going back to our roots. We're going back to where this all started. Real deal metal glass street cars you have to drive to the road. No big tires, 28-10-5. The rules were very, very loose. Basically, it was no slick if it's all-wheel drive. You have to have like a drag radial, but really it wasn't any drag radial. It was like a Mickey Thompson SS drag radial. That was like one of the rules. They wanted the exhaust to be exiting out of the back. A few of the cars got away with it, but it was the first season, right? They wanted full interior, no Lexan, no one-piece front ends, no altered suspension, no they wanted. We all know what a real street car is, right? Like if you have a car that's pretty badass and it runs, let's say 650s in the quarter mile, and it can do a drag and drive, it's probably still not people know what a street car is. You could argue that to a blue in the face. I'm not going to go down that path, but that was the deal. They wanted real deal street cars, carpet, interior, real deal, power windows if it came equipped, blah, blah, blah. Well, they reached out to me and they're like, look, we know you're going to bring not 10 Fox bodies. You're going to bring some cool stuff. So I did. I brought Miles Kerr with the world's fastest Integra. Aaron Lopez, one of the fastest all-wheel drive Civics in the world. We brought my Supra. We brought my buddy Sean and Betty with the Subaru STI. I brought Felicia, which is a drag and drive person that I met on drag and drive. Very well, the four-door Rocket. Justin Mercury with the Durango. Stacey Barnett from out
Ford Durango, not a.
Yeah. We brought Stacey Barnett with, unfortunately, a Fox body, but he had a GTR, but it was a little too race. It had a Lexan and gutted interior. And then I brought my buddy Adam Pettis from Florida with a very awesome 240Z car with a small block Ford, kind of weird, small tire car, extremely fast on the track. But we had our work cut out for us. We took a bunch of track cars to try to go street racing. And like those guys that we were racing do this for a living, Yeah. And so we were a little outgunned on that deal, but we got the opportunity. And, I've got asked this question 100 times since the episode aired. Why didn't I race in Race Wars? Here's why. One of the rules was you could not have a funny car cage. No 25-2, no 25-3 stuff. Like Justin McMurtry cut his cage out. Chuck Seitzinger cut his cage out.
Wow.
Aaron Lopez cut his cage out. A lot of guys cut the halo out of their cage to make it a 10-point, basically. And that was the rule. Well, I had a race coming up. I had World Cup finals coming up, but my chassis shop is in Florida, which is where Real Street is. ProFab does all my work. I told Sean, I was like, look, my car is really, really nice. I was like, I'm not cutting my cage out. And he's like, well, you're going to have to find another car to race. I'm like, man, I have it, but it ain't going to be fast. So him and I kind of talked a little bit. He talked to the rest of the Street Outlaw guys, and we kind of came to agreement. Look, you can race your car on your episode, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And we did, and we had a really good episode. And then we raced on a Wednesday night. The following Saturday, so 10 days away, was Race Wars. So Mike, rest in peace, he actually passed away. He was the producer. He calls me, and he's like, look, you're in, and you get to pick one teammate. So for Race Wars. And I'm like, okay, I pick Aaron Lopez. No brainer. And I'm like, we're going to race. And so he's like, okay, cool. So then Sean and Ryan called me, and they're like, hey, it's you in the Civic? I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, cool. Just want to make sure. 3 hours later, they call me back. We fucked up. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, we forgot about your funny car cage. You can't race. I was like,
Mm.
what? I was like, at this point, I was like, so into it and pot committed to this experience. I was like, I'll cut the bastard out. I was like, I'll cut it. They're like, we can't, because like it was part of the storyline and like people seen it. And I'm like, oh my God, is this real life? Is this happening to me? And so I didn't go off of favorites. I didn't go off anything. I went off my teammate who had the best record, which was Felicia. She went 2-0, and Aaron went 2-0 as well. So I put Felicia in my spot, and the rest was history. And that whole experience was amazing. And I took away a lot from it. Like, to me, us winning it was really cool. Like, Aaron Lopez killed it. He was just unbelievable wheelman the whole time, just cutting great lights. But we earned the respect, I think, of a lot of people bringing imports to a street race full of old school domestic cars. Like,
Yeah.
Doc, like, I love Doc. Like, a lot of people don't like Doc. I love Doc, but he came up to me, he's like, you made me respect imports. Would I go buy a Honda or a Toyota? No, but I damn sure respect them. He's like, I never thought those
Right.
cars were that fast. Dominator, same way. Sean went to Brazil with Daddy Dave a couple years ago and drove some Opalas down there. They were fast as hell, like mid 7 seconds. Like they knew imports could be fast. Like Lutz actually went to World Cup finals this year and raced the quarter mile stuff out there and got beat by a 2JZ car. Like, he knew those cars could be fast. And so, like, some of the guys knew they could be fast, but some of the other guys, they're hardcore domestic American muscle. I talked on another podcast for the Street Outlaw guy the other day about this, but the more I've thought about this, I don't think it's I hate imports. I think it's I grew up in the 70s and 80s. It's my generation of hot rods. Toyotas and Hondas weren't fast then. They were 40 miles per gallon Econo boxes.
Yep.
I just don't understand how that 4-cylinder can make 1,500 horsepower. And the more I think about it, it really is. It's a generational thing. The guys that are 20, 30 like myself, I say that I'm 38 now, but we grew up at the Fast and the Furious era. We had Paul Walker. Like, I'll be honest, that's what got me into cars. I wasn't a car guy.
Yeah.
I was a golfer, but I watched that damn movie, and my dad bought me a 3000 GT, and the rest was history. Like,
It was over after that. Yeah.
He could have bought me a Camaro or a Mustang, and I would have been like everybody else in Oklahoma, right? But he didn't. He bought me a 3000 GT. We put purple lights on it, put a fart can on it. It ran 15s, and I raced everything. And it's just what it was for me. And like I said, a lot of guys that grew up, graduated high school from like 99 to probably 2010, that was our generation. We were import people.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, no manufacturer's really making many cool fast cars because the EPA BS. Mm-hmm. But I think that we're experiencing a import boom right now. All those JDM cars are fetching just astronomical money. Supers are bringing $300,000-400,000, and Integra just for $150,000. RX-7s are all selling between $100,000 and $150,000 for nice ones. All those cars are doing what muscle cars did 20 years ago. It's because guys like me, or in this age demographic, are in a position in life, hopefully, where you're making a little more money and you want the car from high school that you never could have. I mean, I do. That's why I have so many damn cars. Find stuff that I wanted from high school. And so, to get back on topic about the Street Outlaw deal and the imports, like, I think that's what it is. They don't dislike us. They just don't get it. That's not what they grew up with. They grew up with Cavelles, Camaros, and Mustangs, and Malibus, and Monzas, and that was their era of cars. And this is my era of cars. Dude, I respect all cars. I love them all. But yeah, like, I don't know. The Street Outlaw deal was awesome, and there's no official word if season 2 is going to happen. I keep hearing rumors July because they allowed a 45-day gap in the No Prep King schedule, kind of like they did last year. But I was talking to one of the guys the other day, and I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's a rumor or true, but Warner Brothers bought Discovery Channel. So that changed things as far as like what shows are going to get bought, what they're going to film, and all that. Because we all know, like, they just got back from Australia, and we all know that PK is their bread and butter. That is where they can go and show the biggest, fastest cars. The fans can come and watch. They can sell tickets, and it's Street Outlaws bread and butter. And so, like, I hope we get a chance to do the streetcar deal. It's not a guarantee that me or my team will be invited. They may go pick another 10 completely random people, even though the Honda won it, last year, which would be okay. It's not our TV show. But at the end of the day, like, there's a few people that thought some of the cars on my team were a little too race, like Aaron's, Civic that won. They didn't like all the stickers down it. They didn't like a lot of the different things about it, but they've met the rules. And I'm sure the
Yeah.
rules here, if it happens again, are going to be much more strict to keep cars like his out, or maybe keep cars like my Super out. But at the end of the day, every racer is going to bend the rules in that gray area
Yeah.
to try to do what we do. And that's what we did. Like, we took cars that fit the rules, and they agreed to let us race, and we grabbed a lane, and every import won except for
Yeah.
mine. Went red against farm truck, but every import got a win, which to me was a win in itself, because you don't get a bigger stage than Street Outlaws to express or race your car on. Like, there's not a bigger stage, and it was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, man. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate it. And obviously I'm gonna be around your area throughout the year. So maybe I would love to have a sit down chat, bring some 2 mics, and dude,
Yep.
let's
Come on.
talk. Your new garage at your house is
Yep.
just gangster, man. It's so
Yeah.
nice.
A lot of times put into that. We're about to pour another 50 yards of concrete on the outside of it to like clean it up. We're actually expanding it, and I'm getting 4-post lifts because of space. But yeah, like 1320 is coming down to do their new garage tour series on me in May 10th. So yeah, man, anytime, like, come by, chat. We'll go drive some of the cars around or whatever.
Yeah.
And for those of you guys listening, we do have a website now, kingoftheopenroad.com. So if you have any KOTOR information, that you have questions, or maybe about signing up or some of the class rules, kingoftheopenroad.com has all of your information.
Yep. And then where can people follow you specifically? Because they can also find King of the Open Road on all
social
media,
platforms. Yep.
Instagram,
King of the
Facebook,
Open
all
Road,
that kind of stuff.
King of the Open Road on Facebook. My personal stuff is JRod_OKC on Instagram, and then JRod's Garage on Facebook. We do a lot of car content, so if you guys like car stuff, come check it out.
Yeah, and it's really fun. It's a great channel to follow for sure. All right, dude. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me on. Thank you guys so much.
Man.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too, brother. Thank you.
What a fun guy, man. I'm going to tell you, he's one of my favorite people within the whole community. He really does an amazing job explaining stuff. He is a great promoter. I mean, like you said, just with the swag packs and all that kind of stuff that goes into each event and everything from there. It's really amazing. And for them to branch out, you think about for the guys that are at home and have never hosted an event, it's a big deal. It takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, and to host events in completely different parts of the country. Now, I know Oklahoma City and Ennis, Texas aren't very far from each other, but they are completely different. And if you don't have somebody that's on site, that is on the ground, it makes it difficult. That's why the Back to the Streets Drag and Drive, no prep drag and drive that I'm doing with Matt Lang and Jay Blanchard, those guys live in Michigan. Those guys race at those tracks all the time.
Mhm.
Him and Jared and Javier, they're doing events in Tucson, Arizona, and Ennis, Texas. Neither one of them live in either of those places. So
Right.
I'm excited to see are we back to the gold rush? Are we go west, young man, go west, to get folks out into the western part of the states, because there's a lot of events. There's 5 events in the Carolinas this year. You got 4 events of like Street-N-Yeet and Carolina Drag Cruise doing 2 apiece. And then Drag Week is going through there. There's not a bunch in Texas. There's definitely not any. I think there's 1 now in Arizona. So
Yeah.
huge plus.
And I think it's crazy.
Go ahead.
I think it's crazy that he can do 8 to 10 events like
Yeah.
you're mentioning. It takes a lot to put them on, and it'd be really cool to see. And I really like some of the ideas he's got. Like he was mentioning the token, and like you said, the swag bag. And I think he's really bringing some cool, unique aspects that some of the other events don't have. So it'll be cool to see if he's able to pull that off, and how many events he can put on.
Yeah, 8 events would be a lot. 2 regional events that I'm planning is a lot. And I don't know if
Yeah.
Matt Lang's in the chat, but man, that guy he's put in a ton of time with the Back to the Streets, and the circuit has not eaten up, but has consumed a lot of my life, the last couple weeks and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty wild to think about what is available to racers now. You have events all over the country, and it's only going to get better. I saw somebody say Drag and Drive has exploded. And I think it goes back to what he was saying, is that there is a lot of opportunity. People want to do this. They want to, I think once you have some veterans, that once you do an event, you're like, I want to do every event that I can get a hold of. Where
Right.
like Dustin Cottle, actually, I had said earlier, only one person did, or four people did 4 events. Well, Dustin Cottle actually did 5 events in 2022 with doing 2 of the King of the Open Road events. So,
Yeah.
that's a guy that does Drag Week and Rocky Mountain and does every other regional event that's close to him. He lives in Tulsa, so the KOTOR events, he did the circuit last year. He's doing it again this year in the Unlovable, or his brother Matt is in Unlovable, and then Dustin is bringing out the other white Love truck. So, he's going to actually run 2 of his trucks at the same event. So
Yeah.
he won't be
And I don't
racing both of them, but
and I don't think a lot of people realize that there's events out there that still have spots available. So
yeah.
if you haven't got into an event yet, there's multiple events that still have
Yeah.
open spots.
Well, and it's like, Heads Up Hustle, I think, has a few spots. I didn't mention them earlier in that little segment, but Heads Up Hustle, I think, has a few spots. King of the Open Road has a few spots there. Those events are both open right now
Yep.
for registration. And then you have, the circuit. We're technically sold out. I was going to say this earlier, but I would sure hate to turn anybody away on day of. So the only way that I'll turn people away on April 14th is if we are at max capacity for the track that the track has allowed. So I'm not going to give that number. So if you intend to show up, we actually had somebody unfortunately hurt their ankle right before this show started. They had sent me a message saying, "Hey, I'm not going to make it because they're not going to be well enough in time to make to walk as much as they would need to be." So, there's things like that happening. There's people that are literally still building cars. Nico Christoferi right now is putting his $1,200 challenge car together still, and he's got to drive from Denver, Colorado to here 700 miles. So we have
Well,
several people coming in from 6 or 7, 800 miles away to one, race at a new track. That's another big benefit to the drag and drive community and racers, is that it gives you a reason to go to new interesting tracks, to go to different parts of the country and things like that. And Eric hasn't experienced yet, but I'm telling you, there's nothing like pulling into a restaurant and seeing cool cars and walking in and it literally being all of your race car friends.
right.
Everybody that you see, everybody that's ordered a beer or ordered a hamburger at a restaurant, they're your friends. You can go up and talk to them and all that kind of stuff. So pretty neat deal.
I'm just
Coming.
gonna I'm just gonna put a sticker on that says, "Hi, my name's Eric," and let everybody come say hi, talk.
I'm addicted. I'm
Yeah.
addicted. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it changed my life and it will change yours for sure. I say that all the time. But it really has. It really gives you a ton of, there's a lot of opportunity there for people that maybe are shy that can talk to people about cars, because we all know we can all talk about cars, and this gives you a good reason. That's another benefit to hosting a cruise night or a long stop route stop, is because it gives a chance for some of the local hot rodders to come out and actually see some of this stuff. Because if you think about it, for cars that are driving during the day, somebody sees a cool car. Oh, wow, that was cool. Pulling a trailer. Oh, that's neat. And they drive on to their work if they're on lunch. Well, then 2 hours later, they see another cool car. Well, with this, we have more than 1,000 people interested in the cruise night. So, I said 400 spots earlier. I hope those people aren't listening tonight, because we're going to fill the entire parking lot. So they've sectioned off a certain area that we're going to have to be in, and it's going to be hard because it's going to hopefully be a beautiful Saturday night.
Yeah.
That's what we're, fingers crossed. When you're doing good for the world, hopefully things do that. Does Centerville still have spots? I don't even know if they've opened their registration yet. I haven't heard about that yet, but I can find out about that too.
Bring a bike, you won't be
Matt,
last.
yep. He's got the race week Grom. One of the guys the other day actually had a motorcycle accident prepping for the circuit, and he is out. So we're down
Oh,
to
no.
4 motorcyclists.
Drag week selling out in seconds definitely makes you think twice about entering other events. Yeah, these
Yep.
other events are open, so they're not all selling out like Drag Week. Drag Week and some of those bigger ones. They're the OGs. They're the originals. Those are
Yep.
always going to sell out. But these other events are going to be just as much fun, and spots are available.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things too for, events selling out and things like that, like we're going to see a little bit of a decline in that because there are so many events available now. But, drag week took up to 45 minutes now.
Hmm.
So, yeah, Jay Blanchard said Sick Week was 3 new tracks for him. Mocan is new for him. And then 2 tracks are new for Midwest Drags. And then all new tracks at Drag Week. So, that's a guy that they're coming to the circuit. Their trip is like 730 something miles or 760 miles. We were actually talking about it in a group chat today because the company my brother runs and does all the work on that I do the social on, Narcoleptic Customs, we're doing the long haul award for the event. And we're actually going to figure out what the gas cost is going to be for that racer to get back home. And we're going to put that in cash in their pocket. So,
Yeah.
700 miles. I don't know if we were planning for a $250 award, but, hey, you got to get back home. And I think that helps. So I
Yeah.
think
And
what's going to be really cool moving forward is you're going to see some of these racers like Jared that want that neat stuff, that think about things a little differently, that are going to bring some really interesting topics and thoughts to these drag and drive events.
yeah. And Jay, I was talking to him on his post. He's up in Michigan, so we'll be coming very similar paths on our way down.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
granted, they'll be in a race car and I'll be in a rental car. Mine will be a little more comfortable, but I
Well, no,
told him if
I'm sure they're going to tow that thing.
that's fair, that's fair.
Yeah.
I told him if I pass him on the interstate, I'll wave ambitiously at him.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, a lot of people want local and won't drive a longer distance. That's true, Danny. That's for sure. And I think these regional events, again, like we said with Jared on, these events are going to be ones that will bring more people to the community. So a lot of people get nervous about the saturation and things like that. But if you look at the country, well, the picture that we have for the Drag and Drive event is full of stars everywhere, right? If
Right.
you look at that, there's still a ton of space that is unused that has drag strips. And I think the push for a lot of eighth mile stuff is going to be good for the smaller eighth mile tracks. I think we're going to see some. Jay says 773 miles. Woo-hoo, at 12 and a half miles a gallon. Yeah, so $250 will just about get them home. So that's exciting. We're going to do that in a little trophy for those guys coming that far. It's a big accomplishment, and certainly appreciated for every event. Jared had Rob Courtney in the black all-wheel drive Civic come from Pennsylvania to Oklahoma City last year. That was a fun time, and it allowed me to meet Rob, who I saw again at I think I saw him again at Drag Week and then again at Sick Week too. So you just end up creating this huge, race car friends group of people that anytime you go anywhere, you're going to be able to find somebody that you know from some other event. But with as much on the road travel as I'll be doing this year and everyone else is doing this year, there's generally going to be somebody within a hour radius of you that could come save you if you're on the side of the road with your family. It's not just race car friends, it's literally all friends. Race car people are good folks. So
Yeah, and since I've started helping you out with all this, I mean, I've met a ton of people that
yeah,
are within 4 hours of me,
yeah,
So I think that's what I like the most about all this is being able to meet people with similar interests. Like you say, we can all talk about cars.
yeah,
And back in the day, pre-internet, this is what you did with people in your own town. But now, like for me, I'm getting the chance to meet people all over the country that have the same car interests and racing interests, and that's the podcast, the drag and drive stuff, all of it. That's what I really enjoy is it's just getting to meet everybody and
yeah.
having fun.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, Adam Dory here, the voice of Rocky Mountain Race Week, it says Ozark, probably talking about Ozark Raceway Park, was one of the most fun tracks I've been to. And then MAD, which is Mid America Dragway, in a tiny town in Kansas. Y'all, there's a restaurant in wherever that city is for MAD. Gangster Little Tracks are the jam. It was an old World War II pilot training area because they needed to be middle of the country. They could get anywhere, all that kind of stuff. But it has turned into one of the just a cool, I'm not going to say outlaw track because it's not an outlaw track, but just a really cool facility. The closest town is Ponca City, Oklahoma, and it's like 35 miles from it. And I'm telling you, I think we had to drive to Ponca to get parts from AutoZone for the cart that we were having. We were changing transmission fluid there in the dark at the end of the track. It's an intense time. People don't understand the race week life you live. So I've messaged
Right.
Jesse Fox. Hopefully he's going to jump on in just a minute. But before we do that, let's thank one of our sponsors, dude. How about that?
Yep.
Let's thank Molly Motorsports.
Molly Motorsports is the official piston of DragAndDrive.com. Molly's Power Pack piston is the perfect candidate for your drag and drive car. Molly Motorsports competes in drag and drive events and supports our community. Project manager Eric Grillo raced a 10-second stick shift Nova at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. He's also competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week last year with his C10 truck. Visit mollymotorsports.com for the most recent line of products.
I love our friends at Molly. You know, Eric Grillo is he's a long time drag and drive racer. And those guys, when they were on, you know, whenever we made the announcement a couple months ago, them coming on board, you know, his level of knowledge of stuff is so intense that it's almost overwhelming. And I was thinking about it earlier today. There are actually Molly pistons in that new Demon 170 or whatever it's called. So that's pretty cool that, you know, they're not only helping us racers do race car stuff, but it is, they also help, you know, manufacturers and OEM stuff. That's probably where they get most of their R&D done, really. Eric Carroll was, can you go back to his? Yeah. Mad was a crazy track. It really was the sketchiest shutdown. They actually changed it that after dark, they went to 8th Mile Racing for the fast cars and used your previous day's back half numbers to finish out your time slip. It was pretty wild. It was a great track. And then,
Adam says it was badass from the air conditioned tower.
yeah, it was warm. It was warm out there. And that's what's great. You know, race week is moving back to the end of September, first part of October this year. So that'll be kind of cool to see the weather. And we're going to be in the mountains. So I don't know when it starts snowing in out there, but Steven's driving the MG. I'm sure I'll be in the drag and drive pursuit rig, which I'm getting some decals done up pretty soon. So hopefully we'll have, I don't know if I'll have them done by the circuit, but definitely after that. Well, I see Jesse's here in the back. So let's bring him on. He is on site. Guys, this is Jesse Fox of 3G Video. What's up, man? Can you hear us?
I'm hoping my internet connection is good enough that this actually works.
Yeah, you are on site at the route stop, right?
How's everybody doing?
We're doing good.
Good.
Doing good. Can you? It's really choppy for me. Is that a normal thing?
No, we can hear you just fine. Oh no, that's part of the struggle with him being in the in certain parts of the country over there. So why don't you tell us what your some of your favorite cars and some of the favorite passes has been?
Hey guys, I'm sorry about the internet here. I really cannot see or anything right at this moment. So I'm sorry. The Street-N-Yeet is going really well. We're having a lot of fun. It's been a good time. We've had a lot of good cars out here. It's a little bit low car count this year, so kind of dealing with a little bit of those situations. However, it's been a really good time. We've been able to get to know a lot of the drivers and get some good stories. We had one that was actually swapping over an ECU and complete wiring harness last night, which was pretty crazy to witness. They were going crazy. We had one that dropped some wheels off. The trailer fell off. The wheels were bounced down the road. They don't know where they went. They kept on driving. They didn't even know they lost them until later. Had to find some new tires and such. So there's definitely been some struggles for some of the drivers. We had the blue Corvette, if you guys are watching along. The blue Corvette dropped a couple of valves today and is out. So we've had some casualties of the cars, but it's been a really, really good time, and a lot of people have been pushing through and making a lot farther. So hopefully you guys could hear some of that. I know I'm not really able to communicate with them too well, so I apologize for the bad internet here in South Carolina down here. But Let's see.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
I
us
mean,
now? Can you
yeah,
hear
I
us
mean,
now? Nope, he can't hear us. That is too funny. That
I'm
is
gonna go
great.
ahead and leave.
Oh, he may be
Just
gone anyways.
just
Yep.
yep.
Well, dang. Well, that was fun while it lasted. I want to say thanks to him. I know it is so hard to jump into, providing content while you're on the road like that. So that'll be another thing we'll work on during your visit to Six Summer and me being at Summit Racing Autocross Week. So,
Yeah. Yep.
well,
Another thing I was just going to mention with Adam in here for the people watching and listening, if you haven't checked out, he has a automotive podcast going as well. Been watching the first few episodes as he goes live, and it's been really good. So
yeah.
that's Cool Drink is the name of that.
Yeah, and that is not necessarily, well, it's an inside joke for the guys at within race week, but it's he says that's cool quite a bit. So it's really a fun, and his episodes are great. He is, from what I can tell, going through the history of Rocky Mountain Race Week. He's had, of course, Matt Frost on. He's had Darce Laws on last week, and then Zach Deckage on, I think, the week before that, and he's got somebody on great today. I see Jesse's trying to come back in. There is let's see, let's try him one more time and see if we can get him in here. Nope, I don't think it's going to work, man. Okay, I'm going to send him a text real quick and tell him we'll catch him on the next time.
Yep. I mean, it sounded good. I mean, we could hear him. It's just unfortunate he couldn't hear us, but at least it was cool to get a little update of a couple things going on the event.
Yeah, and of course, Jesse has 3G video on YouTube and Facebook, so you can follow all of his stuff there. He is on site now. Chris Story is on site as well, taking photos for the event. Jesse and both Chris Story are going to be at the circuit, so they'll finish at Southeast Street-N-Yeet on Sunday, and then they'll drive back. They'll drive west coming here for the next weekend. So it's pretty exciting. Those guys are living the dream right now for sure. So Jesse does both photos and videos, and then Chris Story is our official event photographer for the circuit, and he'll do all of our photos. And there's a lot of really cool stuff coming that he did last year that we're gonna push on a little bit for this year. So it's going to be exciting. Yep. He has, Adam Dory says he has Cole Reynolds on Friday, and then Carlos Astor next week, which, guys, I don't know if you know Carlos. I've talked about him in the past on some of the other videos. He's an animal, brings out not a new car, but a new combo just about every year. So really a neat dude. And Carlos is one of the very few racers that have attended every single Rocky Mountain event that has been out there. Now, he hasn't finished very many of them, but he has definitely been out there and attempts, and they are, roadside repairs, getting that car to the next track and all that kind of stuff. So they're one of our great friends at the 301 Streetcars group.
This is kind of cool. He says he's going to try to get every driver that did Rocky Mountain Race Week 2015. He's got Joe Barry, Larry Larson, and Alex Taylor back to back to back in a couple weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun. Those are some good names too.
Yeah, what's really cool is, Drag Week 2014 really changed a lot for a lot of people. That was Matt went, and a lot of those people were there. And then, Matt created Rocky Mountain, and a lot of those people followed. And it's pretty neat to think that, Drag Week obviously created our community, but then Drag Week also spawned other events, because people were there and maybe didn't enjoy it as much as they thought and decided they would do one of their own. Well,
Adam, too, if you need some thumbnails or anything for some episodes, let me know. I can probably help out with a little bit of that too.
Yeah, for sure. Eric does all of ours for the shows and does a great job. So certainly appreciate him on that. Having Eric as a teammate has helped really a ton, bring you guys more and better content. And dude, after our conversations today, it's only going to get better. It's going to be this next few months, everything just keeps getting better and better and better. So
Yeah.
we intend to keep that roll going. I do want to say we're excited to have the team at Sweet Patina on board as our Built for Drag and Drive sponsor for 2023. I promise I'm getting out and about very soon for on-site, interviews and things like that, like we did with Jonathan Stonecipher. And congratulations to them again for being brought into the Summit Racing family for all their stuff. Jesse has popped back on here. Let's see if we can get him. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. Nope, it just freezes up. All right. Well, perfect. Well, dude, I think that's our show.
Yeah. Little early tonight, but that's all right.
Yep. We're still reeling from the weekend, trying to catch up on some sleep and stuff. It was not at all a normal sleep weekend for sure, and I obviously got behind a little bit on some of the work that we're doing. So I've been up late at the house again, and up early in the mornings, kind of burning the candle, trying to get back caught up and all the stuff. Again, the circuit next weekend, I'm so anxious about it and so ready. Now I know you guys haven't seen any updates for Southeast Street-N-Yeet to the lists or anything like that. That is because Southeast Street-N-Yeet does not publish their racer ETs until the final day. So that's really a neat turn of events for those guys. So you really don't know where you are in your class standings until the final day. And I don't know if they make them public before the final day of racing, or if it's at the end, like maybe it's a surprise for the awards. So that's pretty exciting. So we'll obviously have those after the events are published, or Laura and Devin email them to me. We'll break those down. We'll be adding lists to dragonDrive.com, the 2023 stats. So you'll have, National 235, National 275 plus, 8th mile lists will be added from the Southeast Street-N-Yeet. And we're building. Obviously, there's been no reason to post the I Survived a Drag and Drive list, so we're going to wait until after the rush, probably through maybe before King of the Open Road, or just after it, before the other two events, or maybe we'll do it in July, right after Summit Racing Midwest Drags, because then we can do it, and then you run into the second half of the season. So, all right, I hope to have all the stuff done by for the World Champion by Saturday morning. Hang on, Jesse's texting me. I'm going to pull. He's going to try and pull it up on his computer and see if that'll work that way. So we'll give him just a second. We can probably kill some time here while we're waiting on him to get it all pulled up, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So the other thing too is we're figuring out the podcast. So I've been dropping the podcast over on my channel right now on Motorsports Paparazzi. That's on Amazon Music and Spotify and all those. We'll see what we end up doing going forward. But for people that like to listen to the podcast, we've been talking a lot about podcasts, and we're working on getting those probably just in one spot, because Mike and I have talked, and Motorsports Paparazzi is probably not the right place for them. So you guys can look for that coming soon.
Yeah, we do have some on all of the major networks or apps for the Drag and Drive Addiction brand. It's under dragondrive.com or Drag and Drive Podcast. So you can find them there. Go ahead and get subscribed and review and all that kind of stuff. It is a little bit older because I just haven't had time to edit down the videos or the audio from these. And Eric cracks the whip on me not just putting out subpar audio content. He's fine with me doing subpar video content like tonight, but subpar audio he is not into. So
we keep each other
on that.
Yeah, we keep each other in line and making sure we're putting out the best stuff we can.
Yeah, and one of the big things, so I'm a huge podcast listener. So the automotive podcast genre is really growing. There are a lot of opportunities out there for us, but there's a lot of options for guys that if you're going to be driving to an event, you can jump on and listen to a podcast the entire way you get there. So if we can do that with I think this is our 14th live stream for the Drag and Drive show, and again we have another 6 or 8 that are probably 10 or 15 that are Drag and Drive news for the year, plus all the stuff I did last year. So it's been a pretty wild year. And then I'll again be bringing a lot of the stuff from my Narcoleptic Customs drag and drive interviews over to the dragondrive.com and Drag and Drive Addiction pages. So
Yep.
pretty
We
fun.
just
Looks
we
like.
just got to get you going back on TikTok again, and then I won't have anything to pick on you about after that.
Yep. That's what I'm intending to grab is a ton of content from the circuit. That's been my biggest struggle is I was trying to grab so much content from Sick Week because I was only going to be down there 2 days. So,
Yeah.
now we'll have the circuit and a ton of phone content that I can grab that way. And that allows me to post to the Drag and Drive TikTok page. So they always do well over there. And it's one of the best ways for, organic reach and all that for people to find you, because I mean, the more people we can have find this, the better. Yeah. And then, sorry. Yeah. Adam Dory says super fun and sorry sometimes if he has to move his stuff to Wednesdays, no disrespect. Yeah, no problem. I try and do Thursdays or Fridays if possible, but I'm trying to be as flexible with the racer's time as possible. That's exactly right. We try and lock in Wednesdays simply because we need a consistent schedule. Sometimes it doesn't work for us, and moving forward, we'll be most likely recording some of the segments with people, with manufacturers and sponsors and racers, and then we'll play those while we are here. So, here we go. Jerry Sweet said he got his case of Sweet Patina TKO hand cleaning wipes. They are awesome. That is for sure. I actually have them sitting right here. I should have brought them out earlier. If you don't have these, you need to. They're a great addition to a shop. We don't have running water here in the shop, so I have to have something because I can't go grabbing the door handle at the house and using the nice towels inside that hang on the oven. You can't use those for your hands from the shop. So,
Right.
And then Eric Carroll says, will you be at KOTOR this year? Yes, that is the plan. It's to be at both of the KOTOR, or to be definitely at KOTOR in May in Oklahoma City, and then at KOTOR in Ennis for sure. KOTOR in Tucson may be a little difficult simply because of the timing. It is late September, and with Back to the Streets, No Prep Drag and Drive in Michigan, the last weekend of September 1st, right into it's like September 29th to October 1st at not Martin, Milan in Michigan. So then my plan is to drive to Kansas City, fly to Detroit, do the event, fly back to Kansas City, and then drive to Great Bend, Kansas to meet up with all of my race week friends and then go on into the mountains from there. So
Nice. Adam says he's got that same plan. He's got a couple pre-recorded just in case. Adam, is yours on an audio podcast as well, or are you just doing the live streams right now?
Yeah.
Not really sure if he's doing the audio ones yet, but if not, I think that'd be a good thing to do too, because again, I'm going to be leaving next Thursday to drive down for the circuit. So I'll have what did I say, 9-hour drive. So I'll be looking for podcasts to listen to keep me entertained.
Yeah, and it's currently just on YouTube, on the Adam Dory YouTube channel. So that's pretty cool. That's cool. Drink.
well done.
Search for Adam Dory. Yeah. Search for Adam Dory on YouTube. Well, it looks like Jesse is struggling. We will have him back on. Maybe I can have him on Saturday morning and discuss his time there. Sorry, you drive. There you go. Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Again, I really appreciate it. You can find anything and everything. Just type in drag-in-drive on every social media platform you can have. And then Eric, tell them where to find you.
Yep, you can find me 815 LSX Swaps. That'll be all the LS swap content of my builds and all the LS swap vehicles that we record. Motorsports Paparazzi is going to be all my photos on Facebook. Created a website, motorsportspaparazzi.com. That is available right now, just getting that going. And Motorsports Paparazzi YouTube and podcast. So we'll be back Saturday morning for Drag and Drive News. Then we'll be back for another episode next Wednesday, and then we will be at the circuit.
Yeah, I'm excited. Wednesday night is Engine Builder Magazine editor Greg Jones. So that's going to be kind of cool to hear his thoughts, because he's been there a long time. So it'll be interesting to hear what he thinks about the drag and drive movement and what that will mean for engine building and, what people are looking for, what changes, some of the stuff we've talked about in the past with other manufacturers, Andy Starr and John at Delta PAG were both great interviews because they gave us an opportunity to listen to, what it takes for longevity, not just your fastest pass, but longevity as well. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. We will see you very, very soon. Oh, nope. Sorry. I see him popping in there, but we're not going to do it.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right. See ya.
See ya. Bye.